Hi, this is Dr. Jared Garris. I'm the Glenn County Health Officer, and I'd like to talk for a few moments about masks and government and whether or not I think that mandatory facial coverings, whether or not that makes sense. So first off, I think that it's important to realize that the main way that COVID-19 is spread is via respiratory droplets. So little particles of moisture and the virus that go out when we cough or sneeze, and they end up infecting somebody else. And I think it's important to know that the primary place where we have, or the place where we have the most receptors for COVID-19, the virus that causes it, is inside of our lungs, okay? So here's this is a picture from the CDC, kind of a famous picture of this guy coughing, and you can see all these respiratory droplets coming out and towards me, right? And you can just see how this can potentially infect me. Now, I want you to stop for just a second and to think, how would this be different if instead of coughing directly at me, if he was to cough into his elbow, right? Something like this. Or if he was to wear a mask, right? How many of those respiratory droplets are going to be making it to me? It's going to be a lot less, right? And I think that that's where the power of wearing a mask and facial covering comes from, is that when he wears a mask, he protects me. When I wear a mask, I protect him. When we all wear masks, we're protected, okay? So do masks help protect against the spread of COVID-19? And I encourage you to go to Google scholarly articles, facial coverings, COVID-19. And you'll find that there's a lot of different articles that go over, and almost all of them show that wearing a mask decreases the spread of COVID-19. Not a surprise when you think about that previous picture and decreasing the amount of droplets coming out. I'll also mention that you'll find one or two articles that talk about when the government mandates facial coverings, how it decreases the spread of COVID-19, okay? So I think that the literature shows that. From a historical perspective, there are other coronaviruses that are potentially deadly, okay? And so SARS and MERS are ones that from the past, so that was in 2002 and then in 2012. And SARS, just so you know, the virus that causes it is SARS-CoV-1, and COVID-19 is SARS-CoV-2, okay? So they're very, very closely related. So South Korea was a country that ended up having to face both SARS and MERS. And with SARS, pretty early on, they learned that putting facial coverings decreased the spread of COVID-19. That was reinforced with MERS in 2012. And when COVID-19 came out, they went straight away to having everybody doing facial coverings. And in South Korea and Taiwan, those are probably the two countries in the world that have done the very best with COVID-19. They both are very insistent on the use of wearing facial coverings or some kind of a mask. So do I think they're helpful? I think that it's an important part it's an important tool that helps protect against developing COVID-19. Staying at home, that's going to be one of the biggest things. Most of the spread of COVID-19 that we've had in Glenn County has come from people going out and hanging out with friends and family. That is most of the cases of COVID-19. Social distancing, when we can't stay home and be by ourselves, when we go out, if we can stay 6 feet apart, that makes a big difference. We talked about facial coverings. Monitoring for symptoms. If we have symptoms of COVID-19, staying home and then getting tested. These are some of the big things that we can do to help decrease the spread of COVID-19. So when it comes to my thoughts regarding the government telling people or mandating that they use facial coverings or masks, I'll give you my personal opinion. I'm not real fond of the government telling people what to do. I remember when the seatbelt laws came out and thinking that that wasn't right. Somebody doesn't wear a seatbelt, they're the ones who primarily face the consequences of not doing it. I remember when the helmet law for motorcycles came out and thinking that that wasn't quite right either. When it comes to masks, in some ways that's a little bit different though. If this guy coughs directly on me and I end up developing COVID-19 because he's not wearing a mask, I'm the one who has to face the consequences of this guy thinking that he's being brave by not wearing one, or he's showing the government that he's not going to wear a mask. and he infects me. And that's something that's very different. If it's appropriate for the government to tell to mandate, somebody to wear seatbelts or a helmet, it seems like it would be more reasonable to me to mandate that somebody wear a mask so that everybody in the community can be protected. That said, masks do help. And my feeling is that whether the government tells us to or not, it's the right thing to do. When we wear a mask, we protect our neighbors, we protect our friends, we protect the little old lady who happens to be at the grocery store when we come. It's the right thing to do. I'm hoping that we as a community can go ahead and embrace this and help protect each other. Thank you.